Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss The Strangers, starring Liv Tyler, Scott Speedman, Gemma Ward, Kip Weeks, Laura Margulies, and Glenn Howerton, and directed by Brian Bertino. So, is this really based on true events? Because, let's get into this. They say this is based on true events on the night of February 11, 2005. I honestly find that a bunch of bullshit, because how the fuck are horror movies saying they're true stories when really I don't believe it for 1 second and that any of this shit happened. And I'm looking at you, Paranormal Activity. James Hoyt, played by Scott Speedman, and Kristen McKay, played by Liv Tyler, get back to James's family cabin after a wedding. And do we find out whose wedding this is? Nope, because it doesn't fucking matter. But I don't care for both characters, whether they live or die. They're underdeveloped in a poor kind of way, except James asks Kristen to marry him, and she says no, from what I get the impression. And again, I don't give a fuck. Not only do I not care for James and Kristen, but I don't care for the brother of James. I think his name was I can't remember his name now. I think it was Mike, now that I think about it. I don't care for the two kids that walk home from school, and I don't care for the fucking strangers, and this movie is called The Strangers. For fuck's sakes, make us, the audience, care for the fucking characters. One stranger comes to the door and asks for Tamara is home, and she says that on purpose because she's not only going to kill them, but she's a fucking psychopath. Come on. And when both James and Kristen answer the door, you should not only open the door, but ask them who is it. And they shouldn't be out at 4 o'clock in the middle of the fucking night. Like, my god, this script makes me so fucking angry. This movie is not only not scary, but it's absolutely fucking laughable. This entire movie is, as a true story, I mean, come on, give me a break on this. I do like when Kristen smokes a cigarette, and one of the strangers, there's a total of 3, but this, and we're introduced to 2 so far, but there's this one with the man is standing behind Kristen, and she's going to the kitchen. I'm like, look behind you, god motherfucking damn it! One of the songs that's on the record player and from the fucking trailer, when it's playing over and over again, and I thought not only did it annoy me half to death, but turn off the goddamn record, and James gets home and turns it off the record, fucking finally. They try to get out of the danger, while all 3 strangers arrive and burn the phone, smash into their car on purpose, and don't let them escape. Which, how psychopathic are these motherfuckers? I mean, Jesus Christ. So the brother gets there, Mike, I forgot that was his name, and his car gets glass broken, and he jumps out of the car. I thought, run, just fucking run. But he goes inside anyways because he's a goddamn idiot, and James accidentally shot him, and I still don't care. So James goes outside and tries to help Kristen, trying to call for help and on an old school microphone, and one of the strangers smashes it to pieces, and now there's no escape and no car since the brother's car gets burned. And I thought, yep, you guys are fucking dead, and I don't give a shit. This writing is so bad, the acting is horrible, and the directing style sucks in this movie, and I just cannot accept that. It's now daytime, and James and Kristen get captured by the strangers and cuts them flesh by flesh, and we don't ever see the faces of the strangers, which I did like. But if you're watching the rated cut, James dies and Kristen is barely alive. But in the unrated cut, she goes after a cell phone, and the stranger man takes it with him, but James is remained dead, and Kristen barely survives. Like, what a bullshit ending, honestly. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 3.2 out of 10. This is so bad that it's typical of horror movies, and it's not scary. It's more laughable, and the acting is bad. The premise is good, but not great. But the script is very bad, and this is probably the cheapest R-rated movie ever made besides Paranormal Activity. And before I get to next week's movie, I'm really nervous about it, because now I didn't like this movie, and I'm afraid that I'm not going to like next week's movie, but we'll see when we get there. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and I will be back with The Strangers Pray at Night. And until next time, look inside the door and make sure that you don't let anybody in.